Hello, my second grade writers. Today we're going to continue with lesson 2 with unit 4, module A. So if we look at our lesson objective, it says, I will be able to write a narrative to describe actions, thoughts, and feelings. So some of the vocabulary words you're going to see in the Earth Dragon Awakes is the word twitches. To twitch means to jerk or shudder quickly, or think about almost like how a rabbit would move its nose. It twitches back and forth. Plunges means to dive or fall. It's usually when you're falling a long distance. And then if you're dazed, that means that you are confused. You might be stunned. You might not know how to react or think properly. Okay, so we're going to look at developing characters. So writers use details to describe the actions, thoughts, and feelings of characters. These details help readers understand how characters respond to events or challenges in a text. So readers can understand how characters respond to events or challenges by looking at their actions, so what they do, rather than just looking at what they say. Sometimes characters say one thing, but they're feeling something else. Details, which include words and phrases about their actions, can sometimes help readers understand the inner conflict or problem a character might have. So during your reading, readers should look for details, words, or phrases that describe characters' actions. These details help readers better understand what the characters are feeling and how they face challenges and change. So let's find examples of words or phrases that tell about characters' actions. So if we look at page 31 in the book, we're going to look for examples of words and phrases that tell about the characters. I'm going to read these 3 boxes out loud. Mr. Travis pauses by the living room. Mrs. Travis gives a cry when she sees it. Grandmother's piano has disappeared under a pile of bricks, board, and plaster. Then she squares her shoulders. At least we're alive, she says. That's the important thing. When Mrs. Travis gives a cry, readers understand that she's upset. But then she squares her shoulders, which shows she changes her reaction, realizing that the most important thing is that they are alive. Sawyer barks from Henry's arms, urging Mr. Travis to hurry. We learn that Sawyer understands the seriousness of the earthquake. He is barking in support of the rescue efforts. And finally, they freeze in the doorway. The word freeze indicates or means that the characters feel a panic when they see what the earthquake has done to the land outside their home. They freeze in disbelief and pause, trying to figure out what to do next. So you will be writing about challenges and how the characters face these challenges. So your first step is you have to choose a character. Okay, so for example, maybe I'm going to choose Sawyer the dog. Then you have to go back to the book. You're going to find text details. So once you have chosen a character to write about, you can look for parts of the text that refer to that character. And maybe you're going to write down some notes. So for example, on page 19, Sawyer keeps Henry awake, whimpering through the night. He's making little noises. And what that shows is on page 29, Sawyer is afraid he yips. Page 31, Sawyer barks because he wants Mr. Travis to hurry. And on page 36, Sawyer barks at one spot in the rubble of the Rossi house. So now that we have a list of Sawyer's reactions during the earthquake, read through your notes and make a general thought about Sawyer. So for example, Sawyer seems to be fearful throughout most of the book so far. I know this because he whimpers and yips. On page 36, Sawyer changes his response to the earthquake by jumping in to help save Mr. and Mrs. Rossi. So now the next step, you have to put your thoughts into a written paragraph that describes how Sawyer reacted to the challenging situation and how his reaction changed over time. So for example, something I might write would be, Sawyer was very aware that something was happening, even before others knew what was going on. He responded to the earthquake by showing his fear, whimpering, and yipping. As the Travis family safely got out of their house and started to help neighbors, Sawyer seemed less fearful. He even jumped in to help out by barking excitedly where Mr. and Mrs. Rossi were buried. Okay, so in your writing journal that was sent home, you are going to go to the second lesson and you're going to choose a character in the lesson to write about. Then write a paragraph that describes how that character faced the challenges he or she was confronted with during the earthquake. Confronted just means what challenges they faced. How are they feeling? What happened to them? So maybe you want to pick Henry or Chin. And if you need help, you can even use help. You can use Sawyer as an example, the dog, if you need some help with writing. Okay, now would be a good time to pause the video and write down your response. Try the best that you can with this. And as always, you can type in a question on Google Classroom. Okay, so for the conventions part of the lesson, we're working on capitalizing proper nouns. Remember that a noun is a person, place, or thing. Proper nouns name specific things such as Henry, San Francisco, and Mission Street. So looking at some examples from the text, Valencia Street suffered great damage in the earthquake. The city of San Francisco was the center of the earthquake. So common nouns begin with lowercase letters unless it is the first word in a sentence. Proper nouns always begin with capital letters. Valencia Street and San Francisco are proper nouns. From within the cloud, Henry hears screams. Henry is a proper noun. It is capitalized. Dazed, one of our vocabulary words, that means he was confused, not sure how to react. Dazed, Chin peeks out from beneath the table. Chin is a proper noun. The name is capitalized. And finally, on Mission Street, cattle are being herded from the docks to the slaughter yard. Mission Street is the name of a specific street. It is a proper noun that should be capitalized. So then what you could do to practice is go back through the chapter that you had to read today for your reading class and see if you can identify some proper nouns. So again, this would be specific names, such as the names of people, the name of a city, the name of a street. And then when you're ready, you're going to complete the conventions practice numbers 1 and 2. So you have to capitalize proper nouns. Capitalize the proper nouns in the sentences below, then write the corrected sentences on the lines. Okay, so what I want you to do is you're going to go through and actually fix the sentences, just like when I fix your writing. If you remember what I do, okay, I'll help you with the first one. It says, the cable car arrives and Henry climbs on. So I have to find the proper noun. And what I do when you're editing to make sure that it gets fixed to a capital, you underline 3 times. So you're going to do that, okay? And then what I want you to do is on top, you're going to make a capital. And then you're going to rewrite the sentence here. Now, also don't forget to capitalize that first letter, okay? So I showed you how to do number 1. I'm going to see if you're able to do number 2 by yourself. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to me on Google Classroom, or your parents can send me an email. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you.